Yo, how's it going, everybody? How are we all doing today? Hopefully you guys are doing pretty well out there. Today's video, I wanted to talk about some of the new Mandalorian that we just got, the Beskar Mandalorian, and where I feel like he's going to be the best used in the game, especially considering that he is not a bounty hunter and he's all about the Scoundrels. And I was going to make a point about this in a video, but he's already out, so it's kind of pointless to make this point. But I was gonna say he was gonna be a scoundrel because, you know, in the TV show, after like the first few episodes, he really wasn't much of a bounty hunter. Yeah, he was still in the guild and whatnot, but he didn't really do any bounty hunting. So it kind of makes sense to me that they went the route of scoundrel. And you know what? Looking in the game, you know, scoundrels, they're a pretty big faction. I know my buddy Clash he's going all crazy right now. He's already kind of came up with a few ideas, and I'm actually gonna borrow some of his ideas with where you might want to use this new Mandalorian at in the team. We're going to go and talk a bit about his kit, but not really look at it too much. This is not really a kit reveal video. It's more about thinking about where he's going to be used the best and just kind of more about the state of the galaxy as well. So, Mandalorian Scoundrel. There are a lot of Scoundrels in the game, guys. This character is so dang good with the whole Scoundrel faction. He is like a Qi'ra 2.0 in my opinion. He has some major uses with the Scoundrels. So I want to go and swap over, not to the State of the Galaxy post, but to the kit reveal instead. So I want to go straight over to his leadership because this is the most important part. So it says leadership is a Zeta, and it is called Season Tactics. I can almost guarantee you that the Zeta on this is going to be whenever, it says right here, whenever an enemy takes damage, Scoundrel allies gain 2% turn meter. I can almost guarantee you that will be that will be the Zeta right there. The other part to this lead is that it says for each Scoundrel ally at the start of the battle, Scoundrel allies gain 5% max health, max protection, and offense. So it's like a mini little galactic legend right there. I like that a lot. The only thing you don't have is the speed, but that TM is so freaking huge. The only thing that I'd be worried about with this is if you're going up against like a full First Order team, if there's any other characters that stop your TM, then it will stop your TM. But for the most part, I mean, there aren't many that do. So, I mean, this is pretty freaking huge, guys. Other things here that are worth mentioning is right here, it says on his Zeta unique. So he has a couple Zetas. He has just one on his Zeta, on his unique, and one on his lead. So only two. For a journey character, that's going to be amazing. So it says here, he's immune to ability block, and he has more potency and tenacity. And then it says, for each time the Scoundrel ally or any Scoundrel ally falls below 75% health, he dispels all debuffs on himself, takes a bonus turn, gains a stack of Whistling Birds, and the cooldown of his huge heal is reset, which is pretty cool. This heal is actually on a cooldown of 4, and it starts on the beginning of the battle. So it's going to be kind of nice if you have some other Scoundrels that that go below that threshold earlier. That way you pop off that immediately, which is very nice because on this ability, if that does happen, it's called Wonder of the Force, and it says dispel all debuffs on all Scoundrel allies, equalize their protection, which is kind of a newer thing. We don't really see protection equalization. We usually see the health, which is definitely a cool, really cool thing here. And then it says all Scoundrels recovered 20% protection, and then it removes turn meter from the enemies, which can be evaded. And then it says here, my favorite thing about this special is that him and a target other Scoundrel ally gain damage immunity for 1 turn, which can't be copied, dispelled, or prevented, and tenacity up for 2 turns. So, like, if you have somebody fall below that threshold of health, he takes his turn, you have so much more control with removing the turn meter and then having damage immunity for when the enemies do finally take a turn, which is kind of crazy in my opinion. So, you know, it might be kind of worth it to have a bit of a weaker character. I don't know how weak Quill is, but if he is on that team, which I'm assuming he will be, you might be okay there. So that's pretty cool stuff. The other thing I want to go over is that this guy has like a whole bunch of stuff in his kit. He has a double tap on a basic potentially, and then his the coolest thing about his kit, in my opinion, is his special. It's discipline setup, but you have to activate this first before you can actually use the Whistling Birds. And the more times that while you activate this, the duration of when you activate this, you can stack up the Whistling Birds after you hit people. So like it all kind of functions. The more times you hit people, the better off you are in this whole kit, and the more Whistling Birds you get. And it says a Whistling Bird it deals true damage to target enemy for each stack. And the max stacks you can have is 20, and you get a stack whenever you hit somebody afterwards after rather this discipline setup is activated. So you can potentially stack up like 20 after he uses this ability, and then you could pretty much just one-shot a character, which is kind of crazy. And this is kind of going to be interesting to use, especially in this new Rancor raid, because true damage will be doing some nice stuff. I'm not too sure if the Rancor is immune to the true damage or not, but regardless, that's going to be some big boy damage. So the Whistling Bird's ability is actually an AoE, but the true damage is dealt to the target enemy, and if that enemy is defeated by all of those Whistling Birds and there are still extra birds remaining, well, those extra remaining birds go onto a weakest enemy. So you can potentially kill 2 people, and then it says people who are defeated can't be revived, and you cannot counter or evade this attack. So I mean, this is pretty crazy, guys. It also, on the AoE of the Whistling Birds, you're going to be doing just normal damage to everybody else, some physical damage, and inflicting healing immunity on them. And then, of course, the big boy target enemies get the Whistling Birds for the true damage. So, I mean, there's a lot of great stuff here. Now, you know, I've been talking a little bit about his kit, like I didn't really want to, but I kind of had to. I want to go talk about some teams about the Mando, the Beskar Mando, that is, and where he's probably going to be the best used. Definitely, let's just go into some of my squads. Definitely, these are ones that you're going to need. You see somebody here a lot, and that's Qi'ra. You're going to need Qi'ra here, guys, because he has that insane TM gain. He's actually a pretty quick character. You're going to want to use that fairly quick in the battle, just so that the Mando can use his first special. That way you can stack up the Whistling Birds. So when he does take his turn the next time around, you can do a huge AoE and potentially killing somebody, you know, before they even move. So, you know, Qi'ra will be a pretty big component here. It'll be very interesting to see how fast this Mando is once he's in the game on Wednesday, keeping in mind that he will be dropped in the game in the journey guide on Wednesday, and you can start farming IG-11 and Qi'ra shards in the cantina at the same time, and that's going to be very cool. So make sure you're banking up your stored cantina energy and try to get a head start like I am. So these are some of the teams. I did steal a few of these from Clash in his server. So Clash does have all the rights to these teams. We'll have to see how they're going to work. I don't really know how much good a nest can do here if you're already going to have a fast Qi'ra, but the idea behind a nest here in this first team is kind of nasty, because if you're thinking about it, this Mando, by the way, this is the Mandalorian, the older one. We're talking about the new one. This is just think about him being in this leadership slot, the new one. But just think about a potential person. There's actually 2 people in this, really 3, that can remove turn meter gain while it's on an AoE. Rather 2 can, and then 1 being the Mando can just do it on his big heal with Baby Yoda. That special can remove turn meter 20%, right? And then you have Nest here. If she's pretty quick, actually, she's a very fast character. She can come out of the gate and just daze everybody and remove 20% turn meter. And that's pretty crazy. If you can have a fast Nest in this lineup, this will benefit you greatly. So having a fast Nest immediately lowers the turn meter gain. Also, Cara Dune's a fairly quick character as well, if I'm not mistaken. I remember getting mine up to 300 plus without that crazy speed set, and she's only gear 12. She'll be coming out of the gate as well, removing 50% of the turn meter. So just imagine a team with Cara, Qi'ra, and then, or Cara, Nest rather, not Qi'ra, and then Qi'ra just getting out in front of the competition. You basically will never have to worry about them going ever. That's only, though, if the enemies are not immune to turn meter reduction, like a Padme. If you're fighting a Padme with this, they're going to still have their TM going, but other teams, this will destroy teams. And this is kind of a scary thing. I think a potential team with this new Mando can kill a Galactic Legend. So I want to, before I get too ahead of myself, I'm not going to theorycraft teams around that. I'm going to wait until others do. But I can definitely see a team with the new Mando killing a GL. So this next one is Qi'ra. He will be doing his big ol' special, the I Have Spoken one. He's a pretty quick character as well. I mean, everybody here is fairly quick, except for IG-11, if I was correct. But he gives out the TM to all the Scoundrels. You can have the TM order set up right as you want them to, you know, having a Nesco with the days, and then some Cara coming in with some more TMR. Or you can just have the TM from this I Have Spoken go straight into a Mando special, and then he can start stacking up those Whistling Birds, and then you have Nest days, and then you have Cara days, or Cara TMR rather, come into play. And then already by that time, you're going to be dealing all that hits and getting a turn meter from the Mando's lead with the TMR that's played into effect here, you'll be getting a bunch of Whistling Birds. I can definitely be seeing an insta-kill AoE right off the bat with this team. So this is a scary, scary team, guys. If I was you and you're going to be farming these guys in a little bit with all the Cantina, I would definitely focus on Queel over IG-11. That's my thoughts there. I just think that having a Gear 13 Queel, having really, really fast with this team will benefit you greatly over IG-11. I'm not saying IG-11 is bad or anything, but definitely those two, with how this new Mando will function, I would say Queel is going to be a bit more strong over IG-11. Although IG-11 does have a lot of great synergy with these whole Scoundrels. Another thing about Qi'ra, I want to go over really fast before we stop and we go ahead of myself and go into other teams. He does have a bit of a synergy with all the Scoundrels and droids, so he's going to be benefiting them even more so. He's a bit like a Chupio in the regards where he gives out even more stats to other of these characters that are Scoundrel and droids, so even more of these stats, which is crazy to me. And then, of course, IG-11 here, he's going to have a lot of taunting here. If Quill is in a team, he will have a pre-taunt, and then you can have even more protection recovery. You have some more heals here, more dots, and I mean, this whole team is kind of crazy, guys. So this one right here, this team here is the one that Clash kind of came up with, and this is like one of the teams rather that I think will be probably the strongest team out of all of these when it comes to like defenses, offenses, wherever it may be. So this one's definitely up there. If you don't have if you don't have Qi'ra built up like many might not, you can definitely use an L3 in here because she's a pre-taunt as well. But just know that you won't have that extra turn meter reduction from Qi'ra's special, which is definitely a nice thing to have. But I do feel like maybe you can slot in and out Nest with Qi'ra. Just depending on what you have built up further. But definitely having the triumvirate being the Mando, IG-11, and Queel, that's going to be a very strong team, guys. Other teams, let's say you want to use some some Rebels without CLS, and use some Rebels like Han and Chewie. This is definitely a great team. People thinking about this. I think Blade Baka shared this team with me, this idea, and having Qi'ra here. Qi'ra actually shares some of her extra crit damage and potency with other Scoundrels, which is kind of crazy. And she has an AoE, some staggers, some more assisting here, so you can actually get that Mando's thing with Whistling Birds going just as quickly. And Han Solo here, he can shoot first, so you can already have that TM going from the start of the battle, which can help out Queel going before the enemies, so you get more turn meter gain as well. And this one is thought to be a bit of a theory craft to maybe potentially kill an Emperor, but we'll have to see. Blade will have to test this out. I am so excited to see that team in action. And then these are ones I was thinking about, like that I might be using since I'm not going to be getting my IG-11 maxed out day one. Maybe down the line, but at the moment, I think I'm going to go with something like this, having the Mando, having L3 being a pre-taunt, since I'm not going to have IG-11 for his pre-taunt, and then having Queel here once I do get him geared up and 7-star, and then I can still have a Nest and a Qi'ra here who can do the same exact stuff that I want them to do with the TMR. So this one's a bit more, you know, I guess easygoing, more accessible, more realistic, I guess is the right word to say. For me personally, I'm not sure about you guys, but having that pre-taunt there, having Queel, Nest, Qi'ra with all that extra turn meter manipulation rather, it's going to be pretty awesome. And then if you want to go even further, a bit more outside of the Scoundrels, well, this one's pretty cool too. A person in my Discord named Ace Antarctic shared this with me. We've seen some of these before with the Geos, where you have like a Jango Fett, maybe even a Droideka in there for the 5th slot instead of Sun Fac, and you can kind of mess with the Traya counter with Scion. And this one will do it the best because of the Whistling Birds doing true damage to the enemies. It's gonna be just awesome, guys. And if you have a fast Mando here, like a speed set Mando, and you have him going first to activate his Whistling Bird stacking abilities, and then he goes again later down the line, he's going to one-shot somebody for sure. So definitely something that I'd be worried about if you saw this on defense with your Traya team. And you know what? I think that we're gonna call it there, guys. I don't really have any more teams I'm gonna really talk about here. I just want to bring up a few of these that I think are gonna be pretty good. The ones that I think are gonna be the most reliable or the most realistic for me will be this one right here, because I just worked on my L3, Queel, Nest, and Qi'ra. This one, and the whole idea behind this one, and really any of these teams, is to have some TMR in there with your AoEs, and then getting the TM growing and getting faster TM from the leadership on the new Mando. And there's a lot of stuff you want to kind of keep in mind here. With this team, AoEs will be a huge factor for your team because that stacks not just even more turn meter from his lead. We'll go back to it really fast before I hop off. It does not only just stack more turn meter whenever you hit somebody on the enemies, but it also stacks his Whistling Bird. So 2-for-1 special there. That is a must. It says right here, where does it say? Whistling Birds, blah, blah, blah. It says gain 1 stack of Whistling Birds for each enemy, and he may only use it. So, like, you pretty much just keep on getting the Whistling Birds whenever you hit somebody, and it plays into a part with his lead with an extra TM. So, definitely a 2-for-1 special there, which is amazing. But besides that, for this video, guys, that's going to probably do it. I know we have State of the Galaxy. All this is pretty much about is just talking about potential new stuff for next year. The early on plans are about this new person here. The armorer from the Mandalorian TV show. So I can definitely see this person, this character being a really big part to the Mandalorian team, the Beskar Mando team. But also I can see maybe some new Mandalorians coming in the game and have a whole-on Mandalorian tag and faction. That'd be awesome. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below on this and also on the other Mando teams that we had seen before, guys. But with all that being said, if you guys enjoyed today's video, give it a like, share it around, and if you guys are new here to the channel, feel free to sub. It'd be muchly appreciated, guys. I would love to hear your guys' comments on all this down below. Or if you want to, feel free to join up in Discord. Also, we have Patreon and channel memberships. Those are all down below in the description link, guys. Go check them out. That's it for me today, guys. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I will see you all later. Peace out and have a good one.